Travis Wayne Goodsoe. Man, my mind was playing tricks on me in my dreams last night. For a backstory, I've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from Marvel, and also Blacklist. The dreams from last night, I was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hydra was performed by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And in this particular dream, time was an hour behind on my clocks, and so I would wake up because it's too hot throughout the night, and as I would see the time on my clock, I would, because of my dream, think it was an hour earlier than I was supposed to be. And I remember checking once to make sure that it was mountain time instead of Pacific time, and yeah, that was weird. Since I'm up now, I've confirmed on my other clocks that the time is accurate and it's not an hour behind. But interesting enough, Sunday, the 8th of March, which I think is the earliest I've ever known, we spring forward an hour. So that's very bizarre. With Blacklist, this gets creepy. It's not in my dreams yet. However, I'm very concerned as I watch the show that the different episodes seem to have a correlation with my life and what the church is doing to me. So if you don't know Blacklist, I'll sum up the show for you. Raymond Reddington is his character is James Spader. James Spader is the famous Daniel Jackson of Stargate, and so Stargate is my favorite movie, which is why it's a little bit creepy. Let's see. There we go. Because anybody who knows me, who does investigations into my life, what I like, what I don't like, what I'm allergic to, would know Stargate is my favorite movie. That and The Time Machine, the 1960 version. And then Fahrenheit 451, the original version as well. Although the reboot that was the other year wasn't so bad either. But Blacklist starts off as Raymond Reddington turns himself in to the FBI. He's the most wanted criminal in the world, wanted by the FBI. So he turns himself in, at the beginning of the show. It also seems, that's what happens. It also is the first day of work for FBI agent Elizabeth Keene. That's her married name. And so Elizabeth shows up to work, and she's told by her boss to go with him because Raymond Reddington will only speak through her. And so she gets a part of this special FBI unit working on Raymond Reddington's Blacklist. Because as a world criminal, he's come to know a lot of really bad people in his 20 years of criminal activity. And so he, as a condition of his turning himself in and speaking only to Elizabeth, he will give them one of the criminals on his blacklist for the FBI to pursue and take down in exchange for not taking down Raymond Reddington. And so as I've been watching the show, I've gotten attached because it's a daddy-daughter show. Although Reddington refuses to let Elizabeth know about it. Makes her guess and question herself as she investigates who her parents are and what happened in her childhood to cause her to forget and only have memories about it. And so the creepy part is what these really bad criminals that Reddington gives them which corresponds with my experience with the Mormon Church. In the beginning, it was like, okay, that's interesting, but it keeps going. And then last night's episode, and I went, oh crap. So if you're new, as YouTube informs me you are new, for the most part, I was born and raised Mormon, going on 50 years. Faithful, devoted, pursued ancient language translation because of the church, because the prophets failed, and because I want the answers, as I have described myself as a child who is in a spoiled, rich family, despite having multiple kids. That's why I can safely say they're rich. It's because we lived in new suburban homes. And I always didn't accept my parents' reply of, we're not going to tell you because we're adults, you're a child, and you can't be a part of our conversations and our knowledge, etc. It took until my teen years until I could sit with the adults at family reunions, for example, and then play card games with the family, the adults. And so I went on to decipher Paleo-Hebrew first. And when I moved to Utah, after graduation from my dual bachelor's with a minor, I then was abandoned by my wife, who despite the church also said that she doesn't want her kids learning Hebrew, because I had just deciphered Paleo-Hebrew that February, and then she left in April of 1998, 7. So in 1998, I reconstruct my research and I go to the church because I have nowhere else to go. Who do I go to for this? So I went to the church, and the church blacklisted me. There's the first connection. I was blacklisted. I'm watching Blacklist, and I just started this season watching season 7, as they currently are in. And so it was, what was it, end of September into October when the first season, or the new season began. Somewhere around there. And this was after I filed my lawsuit. So I knew nothing of Blacklist. I just saw, oh, Blacklist, that's James Spader, that's Daniel Jackson. Wonder what it's about. And so I started watching it. Hey, this is kind of cool. See, we're in the final season. It's gonna end after this season. Start up until the end of March. It's for another 2 weeks at least, because the internet is not showing the next episode yet. And so I've been buying the DVDs. As I pointed out, I finally got season 6, so I've been watching them to catch up before the show continues on again, and have made some interesting observations with parallels. And like I said, these are about criminal behavior, and really horrible criminal behavior. I'm kind of surprised of the type levels of criminal behavior they're showing on the show. And yet, at the same time, I'm going, wait a minute, I'm recognizing a comparison here. And that's what criminals do. They do a full research on the subject matter that they're going to kill, blackmail, set up, exploit, extort, etc. And so, for a show starring my favorite character from my favorite movie, to have comparisons with my dealings with the church is very weird, especially since the church also helped with the kidnapping of my daughter away from me. I had 3 kids, but Miss Melissa, as Stephanie called her, or Little Liz, as I called her, was the firstborn of mine. Last night's episode was titled The Apothecary. Raymond Reddington is poisoned by a designer poison particular to his medical records. I was poisoned not by a drink of alcohol, but through mold. I'm allergic to mold. And it was put on my health record, having been disappeared and put into the system by the church, so that the church, to have knowledge of this, would be pretty wild. But the people that are housing me know that I have allergies to mold because of a place that I came from in downtown Salt Lake back in 2014. Had mold, and I exhibited the first allergy symptoms to the mold back then. It was respiratory back then. And that's why any allergy I have affects my esophagus right in this area. So my coughing is not from coronavirus. It's a pre-existing condition that's associated with my particular allergy to pollution, as Utah is the #1 polluter in the world. But mold also, I've recognized now, as playing a role in my allergies. As all hell broke loose here in my apartment, as Bishop Reed Hammond said, "I don't want you in my ward anymore if you're going to be publishing that the Book of Mormon is the Word of God." I know, it's weird. What the hell is a bishop saying, "I don't want you in my ward if you're going to publish that the Book of Mormon is the Word of God"? What the hell is he thinking? He does not know me and my history. He knows that I'm working on ancient languages. And that's uncomfortable for him as a Mormon, because Mormons are taught only the president of the church can translate ancient languages. That's the Mormon cover story, so that they don't have a crushing belief system with Egyptologists showing that Joseph's translation is not the translation that they would render it. And to help explain why none of the prophets have ever made a translation from Egyptian documents or any ancient document, despite the flood of Egyptian documents since Joseph Smith's day. And so, I came to learn that the church had blacklisted me when they had me arrested back in 2008 and then disappeared rather than going to trial. And so here I am going, all right, I confirmed it. The leaders of the church are in on this. It's not the low-level bishops, stake presidents, secretary to President Hinckley, etc., 70, who are out to get me. It goes all the way up to the top. And so thus began with Bishop Reed Hammond here the continued assaults. They at first thought that I'd learned my lesson. They were hoping, I guess. 6 years of disappearance. I think he's learned his lesson. I guess we can allow him to leave, despite the shock that he wasn't supposed to get out. But retirements occurred, and the new little girl who interviewed me said, "Yeah, you can go to trial. I don't see a problem. You answered all the questions exactly as the law requires." They, of course, have changed that law for the specific reason of me. Anyway, after Bishop Hammond extorted my membership, I said, hell no, I'm not going to be extorted. I never went back to church. And of course, nobody's ever come to say, Travis, please come back. What's going on? What's wrong? Because Bishop Hammond was spreading the word among the leadership that stay away from Travis. He's gone off the deep end. He's twisting the scriptures. He's saying Joseph Smith was on the right path with translation. How dare he? He's not the president of the church. The president of the church says Joseph is not a translator. I know, it's Psycho World, Bizarro World for Superman. As you can see my little Superman curl up here. Back in high school, I would actually have the hair curl on my face sometimes, which was pretty cool. But anyway. And so, during the time right before Bishop Hammond kicked me out, I was researching Joseph Smith's murder in Carthage jail, because my third great grandfather was a part of that history, as he gave Joseph his single shot pistol. But one of my Mormon neighbors in Sunday school was saying, hey, did you know he had 2 guns? Oh? I wonder which one was my third great grandfather's. And so I was doing research on that and coming up with some shocking information that I needed to do a full research of the church from the beginning, because what I was learning was scaring me as a faithful, devoted Mormon who had just been disappeared by the church for being a translator. And so I then went and did full research on the early church, and have learned things that church historians are unaware of, that are kind of vital for them in their particular field to have gone into researching. So I'm kind of disappointed with them. But I noticed that the church is saying, okay, fine, if the historians say that that's the way it is, then we'll quote them on Wikipedia. But that's as far as we're going. We're not going to reveal any more. And so, at the church, for example, has allowed the knowledge of Joseph Smith looking into a hat with one rock, not 2 rocks, Urim and Thummim, 1 rock. And they have the rock on display, and it's all nicely polished and shiny. It looks nothing like the original rocks that Joseph had. I don't know what's going on. Nevertheless, I mean, maybe it was Harley P. Pratt's rock. He was looking at a rock once. But anyway, That's the kind of lies that the church is doing to us. They won't tell us the truth until somebody says, hey, we found evidence of this thing, and the church says, okay, fine, but they only go so far as to admit the one thing, and then leaves the rest of church history in confusion and chaos without the full explanation. And so I went and did the full explanation research, and so yeah, that's was interesting timing, because I had set aside my research on Paleo-Hebrew, or publication of Paleo-Hebrew, because I just finished the alphabet research publication and was going to get into the vocabulary until Fox 13 News announced the total solar eclipse on the 21st of August 2017. And I went, holy crap, that tetrad that we just had where 3 Mormon apostles bit the dust, we're in it. Holy crap, how is this possible? And so yes, I was doing research now on the other signs of the scriptures for the latter days, trying to figure it out beyond just lunar eclipses equal Mormon apostle deaths. That's what I'd already figured out previous to my being arrested and whatever, because of my education. And so when Faust and Hinckley were the ones that I noticed after my education, who confirmed, oh yeah, lunar eclipse, death of Faust, death of Hinckley. Huh, kind of cool. That's all I thought it was. But then I get out tetrad, and it put it to the test, because I just heard lunar eclipse. Oh, wow, okay. So is an apostle going to die now? No. What's going on? I guess it was just a coincidence back in the day with Faust and Hinckley. But then that October, another lunar eclipse. Wow. Are we going to have 2 apostles go? Nope. They weren't telling me this was part of a tetrad. And not just any tetrad, a tetrad on Jewish holidays. Holy crap, Batman. So, this never has happened before. It will never happen again. Tetrad on Jewish holidays. That's how awesome this all is. All the signs have significance of rarity. So rare, never before, never again. And astronomers are not telling us. That's what's creepy, is that I'm the one who's identifying these rarities because of my education. But yeah, the third one. The morning on a Jewish holiday, Passover, of the April conference. And then after that, boom, 3 apostles after the 3rd lunar eclipse in the tetrad, between number 3 and number 4. And I went, wow, that was intense. But still, I didn't know about the upcoming signs. And so, the year later, right before the election of the puppet president, the Manchurian candidate of Russia, Fox 13 News Utah, here in Utah, announced the total solar eclipse. And I went, holy crap. I knew what it meant. And so then I found Revelation chapter 12 and went, oh crap. That's a specific date in the future. Sure enough, all the signs, all rare signs, never happened before, never will happen again. All together now. Holy crap. And so we have a puppet president put in by Russia who's pulling in Trump's strings. I mean, it just couldn't get any more blatantly obvious. And then when I do my research, the church part makes sense now, because I wasn't thinking that the church was in apostasy, although I knew that the church leaders were corrupt because they came after me and had me disappeared because I was a translator. But I still wasn't making all the connections yet until I did church history. I went, oh, that's how. Oh, that's why the signs are. Oh. Sure enough, Monson dies during a lunar eclipse that occurred at the end of that month. The blood blue wolf total lunar eclipse. His death was during the supermoon to make the blue moon eclipse at the end of the month, during the quadranted meteor showers. The third, go back to Revelation 12 again, the third largest meteor shower from the tail of Draco the dragon constellation. Holy crap, we're in it. This is it. And then you start thinking, well, how did the ancients know all this? Because the keys of the priesthood of prophet, seer, revelator, and translator, especially translator, they're all science keys. So how did they know this? How did they know America, of all places, and that the president elected put in 2017 would be the beast of Revelation, and that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints would be restored so that it would be in apostasy during this time period? Because both the government and the religion of America, they had to know that there would be a separation of government and religion, because back when the prophecies were given, they had theocracy, the joining of religion and government. Just incredible. But to go back to what was creepy about Blacklist is that because the property manager knew in their records that I have an allergy to mold, they fired the original property manager, got rid of her, because she was feeding me information that they didn't like. She was too lenient. She allowed my wife and I to have both our apartments still, which helped for when she divorced. But they helped with the causing of the divorce. The church and several other people, and the mayor with the police department and property manager, and just ugly, because they were fed up with me because I was resuming translation and now publishing on Amazon, posting on my website, posting on YouTube. all about the connections to defend Joseph. And apparently Mormons don't like this. And so they come after me, the property manager, part of it anyway. They neglect to clean my air unit. It's supposed to be done twice a year, and I made sure to inform the original property manager I have breathing problems from allergies, needs to be cleaned on a biannual basis. Please do that. Yeah, sure. Until she gets fired, and they just all of a sudden stop cleaning it. They have the same maintenance guy, but he's not coming in to clean anymore. And sure enough, after a year of not cleaning, I'm starting to smell something weird from the air unit. Mold inside the machine, which also manifested on the grates. I went, holy crap. So I shut it off. And this was right at the beginning of summer. The hottest summer on record last year. And called the emergency number. Hey guys, my unit needs to be cleaned. Mold. They do nothing. I call again, that in the middle of the night as I wake up too hot, like I did this morning, and they say, we've been given orders not to respond. Holy crap! What am I supposed to do? Go to the hospital? But that doesn't solve the problem. I go to the hospital, I come home, mold still. Why isn't anybody going to come and clean it? This is an emergency. I'm having health problems. Sorry. Holy crap. So I email the newest of the property managers, and Monday she gets back to me and says, you're a liar, Travis. Doesn't even come to see the apartment. Calls me a liar. And then says, our phone operators would never say that. Oh my God. So yeah, the new landlord, little girl, just constantly lies to us and to me. Even though I have presented documentations to show, no, I'm not a liar. Look, this was from this year for this. It's just, she keeps throwing out more lies. Well, yeah, but no, here. Purposeful lies. And so the whole summer, I go without the air unit being fixed. And I'm given an air sucker to blow out the hot air from my apartment outside. It's not an air conditioning unit. So I don't have a cooling mechanism for the whole summer. That was the hottest summer on record. As mold, spores all over the place. And my breathing problems are acting up. And so doesn't get fixed until November of last year. Into the fall. And then finally a guy comes, and all they do is replace the vent. They don't replace the unit. And I say, hey, the unit wasn't fixed. Oh, we weren't going to fix the unit. Yes, you did. You were going to replace the whole thing. No, we were only going to replace the vent. You went the whole summer and into the fall. Holy crap. The lies. And so they send out an HVAC guy, and he says, yeah, it molds in here all right. Yeah? And all he does is clean it. Doesn't replace the unit. It may be because the unit is obsolete. But why can't they just tell me? Can't they get a whole new system in? Because I know there are systems like this that are upgraded, but no. They just clean it. But I'm still smelling the mold as I sit in the rocker right next to it. It's not a rocker, it's a recliner. And so winter comes. Previous winters, because we're in smog pollution Utah, I get winter rashes, but they only show up during my morning shower. It shows up on my right thigh most of the time. This year, it was the worst it's ever been. And I'm checking out other scenarios. You know, I wasn't using bleach to clean the tub, so it can't be that. And I'm trying to see if it was something to do with a change in my diet or a change in laundry detergent, stuff like that. Trying to eliminate what it can't be. And then, yeah, mold. Because I was directly affected with mold for that length of time, it flows through my blood now. And so the winter rash from pollution also included my allergy to mold. And so it's severe. So when I watched this, where Raymond Reddington is poisoned, directly specific to his medical history, someone who knew his medical history and poisoned him according to his medical history. I went, holy crap! I was mold poisoned because of my allergies, because of my medical history. They knew my medical history and purposely set up the scenario for mold. The air unit sucks for cold air. For hot air, works perfect. I don't even have to put it on fan. I just click heat, and within an hour, it's too hot. And so yesterday, if you've been watching my videos, I talked about how Karen was supposed to come over and then didn't, and so I had to heat up my apartment for her. And so yeah, it's easy to heat up the apartment. It's hell trying to get it cooled down again, especially as the temperature is warming up. It only got down to 65 degrees for my apartment temperature. That's how poor this air unit works. And I put it on full high fan. And I can't put it below 68 degrees, 69 technically, because 68 causes the air unit to freeze. At 68 degrees, it freezes. And once it freezes, it then condense or evaporates, and then creates a water pool down there, which then freezes and then melts and then freezes and then melts. It's a very lame invention, and because of that process, mold gets formed inside the machine, and then that blows out into the apartment. And they knew this because they know the machines. They use these machines specifically. And so, yeah, I'm facing the south, so the sun beats right on my windows during the summertime. And temperature rises like a little hot box. And they knew all this. And refused to replace my machine with something better. And so now I'm forced to buy little portable air conditioning units for each of the 4 areas of my apartment. And I'll be buying those on Friday. Just unbelievable. So yeah, I'll have a little portable air unit here to cool the apartment down by the computer area, because you got to keep computers cool. You can't heat them up. It does damage. They knew that too. And they knew that I was posting online about translations, which the bishop said, no, you can't prove Joseph Smith is right. Just a nightmare. And of course, Mayor Ron Bigelow descended through one of Brigham Young's polygamous wives. Bigelow. And so I can see why Mayor Bigelow wants to protect Brigham Young over Joseph, and maybe he knows Brigham Young's secret plans of evil, because Mayor Bigelow played right into the hands of the evil villain for his role as mayor after what Bishop Hammond wanted done to me. Mayor Bigelow followed suit as a loyal Mormon to protect the church from Travis, who's trying to show that the church is true. Travis can't show the church is true. We're false. Weird. Bizarro world. But yeah, that's the weirdness of watching Blacklist, is seeing those types of scenarios in the show, which I knew nothing of, actually being played out, as if they know all the shows and know to use them against me. Weird. So yeah, weird. And of course, Russia's involved in Blacklist. Weird. Alright, so this is already 50 minutes. And it's still too early in the morning. Oh, God. So I have a couple other videos. I'm going to wait to talk about Judge Waddups. I'm going to wait to talk about that one until after I get my mail today. If I get the waiver, I'll explain Waddups, because that's going to go hand in hand with the waiver. See, remember, I have to be on the defensive, because Judge First is refusing to respond. She's in criminal derelict, default, contempt of her own court. She is required by law to respond. This is a case. It came before her by Judge Waddups, assigning it to her. She has no choice but to respond. But she got fired previous to getting my case because of the defendant. She allowed the defendant's case in another case to go forward, and so the other judges who are Mormon said, okay, well, you know, there was this one incident way back when. You're fired. You have until the end of April. And so, yeah, she's not doing anything. She wants nothing to do with this case. And Judge Waddups knows all this. He assigned her. He knew she was fired. He still assigned her a new case dealing with the church. As he is Mormon boy elite himself. And so he's not responding either. And so he's in criminal derelict, default contempt of his own court. Mormon boy Judge Waddups. And so I have to make sure that I'm on top of all the laws to figure out my next move when they pull these kinds of stunts. And so that's why I was lucky to find the waiver of summons. So now the church has been served, despite the judge's attempts to prevent me from serving the church. That's how bad it's getting here. That the judges know my case will destroy the church. And so they're doing all they can to protect it. As judges! A criminal organization they're defending. Unbelievable. And so, yeah, I have to do this alone without legal representation because nobody wants to take the case. That's a church. We're not taking that case. No, not going to help you. No. And so, yeah, the prosecutors of Utah, lawyers of Utah, and especially those in government, the Utah Attorney General, police, mayor, governor, they all will not go up against the church. They're all in on the crimes. They're all helping the church commit the crimes, protecting the church in their crimes. Crimes, crimes, crimes. And remember, born and raised Mormon, thinking, hey, church is true, go on mission, go to early morning seminary, become an Eagle Scout, do all the things, and even study ancient languages to show Joseph Smith was right. And it never occurred to me that I was stepping on the prophet's toes. Oh, poor babies. And so now I study church history and I go, now it all makes sense. Crap. This can't be happening. This is like worst case scenario that I got placed in on earth from the spirit world. Holy crap. And signs in the heavens are all happening now, and I'm being attacked as a translator defending the church by the church who doesn't have the keys because they murdered Joseph, the founder. So, yeah, I've got a battle on my hands, and everyone has been suppressed by the church, as those who have left the church are walking on eggshells because they've already been threatened by Mormons as they've left. And people don't want to stand up to the church because they know of the criminal bullying and abuse that is put on them. And you can see others that have done YouTube videos talking about this abuse. And they're more entertaining and they're better looking than I am. And so they get lots of views because they're not a threat to the church like I am. And so here we are. Just the two of us building castles in the sky. And so, what a nightmare. And I don't know if anybody's listening to this part after an hour. YouTube says nobody's listening to me now. So, yeah, just completely weird. Alright, so see, body's playing tricks on me lately, last couple of nights. Unbelievable. So the other video I'm wanting to do is going back to Egyptian, because there's some other prophecies of Egyptians that have relevance, and it has to do with the poison that I've been given with I'll just throw out Scorpion King. I mean, even though the movie version with The Rock was completely fictionized from the original tale, there is some similarities with the original story, and then also ISIS also involving scorpions, which is why the Scorpion King came about. It was based on the ISIS concept. Scorpion King being Horus symbolism. So, alrighty. Oh God, an hour. But unless a Mormon is working, this video will process real quick and fast. I'm willing to bet you, because it's like 2 in the morning almost.